Welcome to Beast the Odds. I'm your host, Muntradamus. Tonight, we have a weather update from Mark Parquet. Is there a game we should be concerned about? After that, we got Beasts of the Week. Finally, the injury report. At Dr. Jesse Morse is in the building to tell us what's going on with New England and a lot more. It's Beast the Odds.
Are you ready, BEASTDOME Nation? Muntradamus.
A lot of you have not experienced Beast the Odds Gold. Here's a little snippet of last week. By the way, it's free. It is free with the promos. You can check the description below. You can go to BEASTDOME.com to learn more. It's free. Check out this clip. Devontae Freeman really needs that breakout game. The opportunity is there. But look for Matt Ryan to really destroy the Colts secondary. We got ourselves a shootout in that game. That's going to be entertaining. First things first, this week, Zeke's got to be on every single squad. No questions asked. If I had to go one beast quarterback, I'm really loving Matt Ryan this week. Indianapolis defense does not scare me at all. Ryan's hot. Their offense should roll. Receiver to get Julio. Julio and Ryan can easily team up. But more important than Julio before we commit is getting Dalvin Cook. Would love to get Edelman with this squad as well as Gordon. Let's see if we can make this all fit.
Welcome back to Beast the Odds. We are joined by the weather guru himself, Mark Parquet. Mark, thank you again for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to a hopefully profitable week 4 for everyone. What we got going on today?
Hey, definitely profitable week 4 for everyone. Tell us what we need to know with the weather this upcoming weekend.
Well, as is so common early in the season, there's not a ton of trouble spots. Looking things over, the only game that I'm going to say can have the possibility for some major weather impacts is Denver. And it's not because of precipitation or extreme temperatures. It looks like it's going to be windy. And when generally Denver, if it has a chance to be windy because of the elevation, it will be windy. And I'm looking at winds probably 20 to 25 miles per hour during the game with possibly some higher gusts. So could be favoring the ground game, the deep passing game, and the kicking game could be pretty impacted.
Yeah, it sounds like both these teams that are really defensive-minded teams to begin with will want to keep the ball close to the chest on the ground and keep that clock rolling.
Yeah, maybe another thing is, tight ends in games like this, or like slant receivers. Receivers where the ball doesn't have to go far in the air could have an advantage. I know Emmanuel Sanders had an off game last week, but he's been really good in the slot and catching a lot of balls from Flacco. And Noah Fant is their rookie tight end. Maybe he's able to break through. But yeah, Phillip Lindsay, Royce Freeman, that combo looks like a good bet to see quite a bit of usage this week.
Yeah, Jacksonville's defense is no joke, though. You don't want Emmanuel Sanders running slants into Miles Jack. Well, thank you again, Mark, and our people find you on Twitter.
I have 2 major Twitter accounts. The first one with obviously the NFL season in full swing, NFL DFS weather, and the other one where I do most of my baseball stuff, but it has a larger following, and I kind of retweet back and forth, is DFS MLB weather. So DFS MLB weather and NFL DFS weather.
We might have to add NBA DFS weather.
Yeah. We'll have to worry about that, like major snowstorms or when it's raining in New Orleans and the roof is leaking, right?
Or they got a bad electrician in the building that night. Well, we'll be back with Beast the Odds after this.
With the weather windy in Denver, the Jaguars are going to have to rely on their beast Leonard Fournette. The Broncos' run defense is not the same with Derek Wolfe not playing. Todd Davis is not a strong middle linebacker, and there is a gashing hole up the middle that Leonard Fournette's going to take advantage of. The Jaguars have enough threats in the passing game where the Broncos cannot stack the box, and if they do, Uncle Ringo Minshew is gonna make them pay, and Leonard Fournette will end up getting a goal line touchdown. Make sure Leonard Fournette is in your fantasy lineups this week. Beast! Tell me if you've heard this one before. 3 girls walk into a Miami Marlins baseball game. Academy Award performance, you ask? Here we go. Let's look at the tape. Oh, what? The 56 win, 104 loss Miami Marlins last week of the season, middle of the week, 3 girls at the game. That's not staged at all, is it? Wow, look how full that cup of water is. They played it off. They played it off very well. Derek Jeter, that's why they brought you in to be the GM. Beast the Odds, we're just getting started. Welcome back to Beast the Odds. We are joined by Dr. Jesse Morris. Dr. Jesse, how are you looking forward to this fantasy football week?
It's a crazy week. There's a lot of injuries. There's some targets that I like to share, but that I want a piece of, but I don't know if these injuries are going to play a role. Melvin's coming back. Some big name injuries last night. I'm excited, but I don't think there's as much chalk this week as there was last week.
There's definitely a lot of injury concerns, and that's why we have you on the show today. So let's just jump into it. We're going to go wide receivers and running backs. Let's start with the receivers. Another wide receiver on our list is Julian Edelman. What's the chances there?
So Edelman was looking good coming into today. I still think he'll play. He's dealing likely with a rib injury. They call it chest, but that's more of a formality. This is likely a rib contusion or a cartilage injury in between the ribs. These are painful, but most of the time they will block. They'll do a little local block and they'll get him feeling enough to play. They really need him right now between Burkhead, who's got his own foot injury, between Devlin, who's out, Gordon, who had a finger either fracture or subluxation. So they kind of need him right now.
No doubt. Talking about Burkhead, we'll jump to running back really quick. What's going on in that situation?
It popped up today, unless there was some rumblings that I hadn't caught, but it says a foot injury. We don't. It's literally all we know. Foot injuries that come to mind. One is a turf toe, and the other is a midfoot sprain. Turf toe is what Devontae Adams suffered last night. Midfoot sprain is basically what Cam's dealing with. So both are potentially concerning. We saw Mark Andrews with a foot injury that he played decent, but he wasn't as good as we'd like. So these have a tendency to linger, especially if you're trying to play on. He played 74% of snaps last week, so he's getting the workload. I think this is going to be a Sunday morning decision.
It's interesting you say that, because when I saw him on the injury report, I thought it was like a typical Bill Belichick, listing Brady as questionable the whole season like he has done in the past. I thought it was just a fake injury, but I guess it's something real.
No, I mean, we kind of have to take it real. Unfortunately, Burkhead has had his fair share of injuries. He's been banged up in the past. He had that neck injury that they placed him on IR last year, and he eventually came back. But so he's taken his fair share of beatings. Very rarely do we get concerned about Brady unless it's blatantly obvious or a super big deal. But some of these other guys, we kind of have to and take it legit.
That is all for tonight on Beast the Odds. You can catch Dr. Jesse Morse's full injury report. We go back and forth on all the injuries to running backs and wide receivers. You definitely want to watch that if you're planning to play daily fantasy football this week. You can also get Beast the Odds Gold. There's a free tournament on GOATFantasy.com. You win that tournament, you get Beast the Odds Gold for next week. Enjoy your fantasy football Sunday. Beast!
Sure, you can duel with kings, but are you ready to be the GOAT? Fantasy sports just went crypto. Welcome to GOAT, the global fantasy sports platform powered by Digital Fantasy Sports. DFS Token. GOAT allows users to connect and compete globally with their DFS while playing fantasy sports. From thrilling pick'em games to the classic salary cap style gameplay to season-long fantasy and even live drafts, Digital Fantasy Sports GOAT has you covered. Visit GOATFantasy.com.